and welcome to the Bot Box. Have you ever wondered which robot was the first robot to rock up to Robot Wars wielding an axe? Well, if you have wondered that, wonder no more. That honour goes to Killertron, a bright pink and yellow robot made from a wheelie bin lid which also had 6 wheels. It made its debut in the very first episode of Robot Wars, and there was the second robot to be introduced. Killertron, of course, had to face the gauntlet. They took on the middle route in its seesaw, which went fine, but then they had trouble with the horizontal corkscrew hazard. It ended up going over the second ramp with only half its wheels on the ramp, which was a bit of a problem as the giant spring hazard was now blocking its path. Killertron fell off the ramp and tried to axe the springs, but Stop and Deactivate Robot was called. Not cease, Stop and Deactivate Robot. Still, they did enough to get through to face the trials, which for that week was Sumo versus Shunt. Killertron came out swinging, and I mean that literally. Drove into Shunt and gave the house robot a good axing. Shunt, however, was having none of this and tried to push Killertron over the edge of the sumo ring. Killertron was no fan of Shunt's plan. Its aim was to stay on the sumo ring and preferably try and push Shunt off the sumo ring. Despite a few close calls, it was giving it as good as it got in that pushing war. They managed to survive the 4 minute and thus got to have a fight against forklift, cutting disc, plastic clips wielder Shogun. I'm not kidding about the last one. No, really. For this fight, Killertron had a couple of extra spikes added to its axe. It also had a mace option. Killertron headed straight for Shogun, but Shogun drove towards an arena grill. So, Killertron headed there. Killertron's first attack missed, but spinning on the spot helped the axe spot, and Shogun drove onto the grill. So, Killertron axed them. In the process, Sergeant Bash's cutting disc broke on Killertron. Oops. But they were through. Next up for them was Wedgepot with a cutting disc roadblock. Killertron missed with its first swing, but it found its mark with its second swing. Roadblock did not like this though and pushed Killertron into a corner. Killertron did not have the easiest time getting out, but it did before Sergeant Bash could exact a vengeance, and ended up on the wedge of roadblock and getting carried around until it fell off and landed upside down. And Killertron could not self-right. Killertron returned for Series 2 as the 4th seed despite not making the grand final, and was referred to as grand finalists, which they weren't. They were also orange. Why orange? Because one of the team members bought orange paint by mistake when they meant to buy pink. They landed in Heat E. Once again, Killertron faced the gauntlet and took the route with the seesaw. A driving error saw Killertron fall off the seesaw. With Shunt in its way, it did the only sensible thing a robot could do in that situation, which is axe Shunt. And that was fine, and until Shunt started axing back. So, axe fight. Dead Metal attacked as well. With 2 house robots in its way, Killertron couldn't go any further. Still, 10.3 meters long, not bad, and they got through. So in the trial it faced King of the Castle. Making life easier for Killertron was Shunt taking its time to get to the axe spot, so most of the 4th seed's fight was against Dead Metal. Killertron was holding its own in that fight. However, when Shunt showed up, things went south, and Killertron was nearly pushed off, but it didn't go. It axed Dead Metal and held on. So Killertron survived the full time, and as a result got a fight against cutting disc wielder Aurak. Killertron drove towards Aurak and gave it a bit of a bump after missing with an axe blow. Aurak, however, had lost the chain and got stuck on the spikes. So So Killertron asked Aurak, and with the help of Matilda, got Aurak on the flame pit. Aurak got cooked and axed and lost its tyres to fire damage. So Killertron got through. Next up was another cutting disc wielder in Technophobic, which nearly had a catastrophic fire in the previous fight. Killertron caught Technophobic early, but missed with its first axe blow. Technophobic's tactics seemed to be avoid Killertron's axe at all costs. So they nearly reversed into dead metal. As Killertron could not land an axe blow, especially after the axe went down, it started pushing Technophobic. Where did this end? With Technophobic in the pit and Killertron in the series semi-finals. So Killertron faced the gauntlet for the third time. Once again, Killertron took on the seesaw, but its slow progress meant it met shunt on the other side. Killertron brute forced its way past the axe-wielding household before escaping all danger and completing the course. Third time's the charm, after all. So next was the pinball. Killertron made for the bricks first before trying to knock over some barrels, which it did. But alas, after the barrels went, Killertron rocked up. So, Killertron axed Killerlot. Gotta get these titles right. And got picked up for its tour. Killertron got away, though, and he got more bricks, but was nearly tipped over when its time ran out. Still, it got 135 points, which was more than enough to send them through. And that got them to have a fight against Bulldozer Behemoth. Behemoth tried to flip Killertron early on, but all that did was push Killertron back. So Killertron went round and axed Behemoth. The fourth seed axed Behemoth a lot until it started pulling Behemoth over. It did just that, and Cease was called out once, Killertron managing to right Behemoth too late for it. So, the robot referred to as a grand finalist in error throughout Series 2 was now a grand finalist for real. There they faced Lifter Panic Attack, which, as Shunt proved, was vulnerable to an axe. However, things went south fast for Killertron as Panic Attack pushed Killertron to the perimeter patrol zone, and Killertron failed to get out until pushed out by the house robots. So Panic Attack pushed Killertron back to the house robots and said Killerlot turned Killertron over. Then they got barbecued. Meanwhile, Panic Attack pitied Sergeant Bash in itself. Turned out the cause of loss was a single pin going. However, all was not lost. They were still in contention for third place. Against Roadblock, at the top seed, and of course they were defending champions. Some things never change. Killertron had a hard time getting away from Roadblock, and despite a swing of the axe, got carried around. More swings of the axe got Killertron free, but it got hit by Roadblock's cutting disc and sent to Matilda. Killertron got out only to get sent straight to Killerlot. Once again, Killertron escaped but had to deal with Roadblock, who ended up in their own battle with the house robots, which happens when you went in the perimeter patrol zone. Then Roadblock pushed Killertron and Dead Metal out of the corner. Where did this end? With Killertron in the pit. Still, fourth place is perfectly respectable, and a very good result for an Axebot. Axebots traditionally have not done brilliantly in Robot Wars. After taking Series 3 off because they couldn't make the filming, Killertron returned for Series 4, landing in Heat H and back in Super Bright Pink. It tracked Axebot struck lifter suicidal tendencies, the 32nd seed, and another lifter in Maverick. Killertron's first target was, in fact, Maverick, but it missed with its axe blow. So, suicidal tendencies went after Killertron. The two traded axe blows before Maverick showed up. Both Maverick and suicidal tendencies pushed Killertron around, but Killertron escaped. Suicidal tendencies turned on Maverick and sent it to Matilda. So, Killertron axed suicidal tendencies and soon after Maverick. So, suicidal tendencies picked up Killertron, showing the Axebot why you really do not want to be the filling in a robot sandwich. Suicidal tendencies got away and Killertron axed the 32nd seed before Maverick was turned over. So, Killertron got through. Next up for Killertron was 15th seeded flipper on wheels, Really Big Cheese. Killertron's team did not want to lose to cheese, so they had to beware. Killertron missed with an early axe blow and got flipped for its tool. Sent to Shunt pushed them back to the 15th seed, and Killertron got righted. As soon as they got to enjoy being able to move on their wheels again, Killertron met Really Big Cheese's flipper again, and the 15th seed flipped Killertron Gorgons over. Righted once more by Matilda, Really Big Cheese flipped Killertron one last time. The pit opened and Killertron was at the mercy of the house robots, who aren't familiar with the word mercy. So Killerlot roosted Killertron, got attacked by Dead Metal and Matilda before it was pitted. So Killertron swung its axe repeatedly in a desperate bid to get out of the pit. Yeah, that was far too late. They were out. Killertron was in the Series 4 Celebrity Special though, with Chris Eubank, a boxer, attached to them. For this, Killertron gained boxing gloves, including one of its axe and two on little side arms, thingies, pokey things, and was painted black, so no super bright colours for this. In its first fight, it faced the twin flippers of Clusterbot Gemini. As enthusiastic as Killertron was with its axe blows, it struggled to land any on Gemini. After Gemini tried several times to flip Killertron, Killertron got a Gemini twin over, but it was righted by Matilda. Killertron was also flipped by Matilda, but the house robot righted them too. But something was wrong with Killertron. It was too close to the flame pit, the boxing glove was on fire, and it got shredded too. And it wasn't doing much of the kind of moving thing. Time ran out not long after Killerlot rescued a flipped Matilda. The judges were called in. They ruled in favour of Gemini. Killertron returned for the first series of Robot Wars Extreme for the Mayhem for the qualifying for the first Annihilator, where it faced Grabber / Axebot Splinter and Grabbing Jaw / Flipperbot Agrabot 3. Killertron tried to axe Splinter early on, but missed. It did axe Agrabot 3. Agrabot 3 tried to get revenge, but Splinter landed a few axe blows of its own. Killertron then axed Agrabot 3 as it flipped Splinter. Agrabot 3 wasn't the same after that. It was counted out and sprang back to life far too late. So that just left a righted Splinter and Killertron. The pit was opened, so Killerlot then picked Killertron up and pitted them, which sent Splinter through. But Killertron was still alive. Killerlot shouldn't have done that. Killertron's team attempted to enter Series 5 with Killertron 2, which was a more wedgy Axebot, but it didn't qualify. The next robot, Spinatron, a robot that had an axe that spun as a vertical spinner, also failed to qualify when attempting to qualify for Series 7. Killertron was enthusiastic, fearless, and bright, and easy to root for. I like the paint job. I'm a sucker for bright colours. I like the willingness to go for anything with the axe, though it was extraordinarily vulnerable to wedges, like Killertron had wedge magnets. Caesar wedge? Maybe that explains why Killertron always went for the seesaw and the gauntlet. The important question is, who's next? Gotta give this box a really good shake. You never know what you might get. This one here. Maximus. Until next week, Calson244 out.